Today we are going to see Alchemy of Souls Korean Drama Season 1. Before entering into the topic, please subscribe the channel for more videos. Episode 1 Soul Switch. We begin, as in all good fantasy, with a cryptic prologue, meeting a mage, Jae-wook, who practices the forbidden art of soul switching, moving one soul to another body. It's a morally dubious magic. A soul can clash with its host body, causing it to lose energy and attack other living beings, all the while gradually becoming stone. Our mage has been summoned by his king. Things are tense as the king is deathly sick and cannot stand the thought of dying without an heir. "Just 1 week," he says. "Let me switch bodies souls with you for 1 week." This seems not at all suspicious. So, holding out a mysterious glass orb, in a stunning display of CGI theatrics, seriously, the visuals in this show are beautifully bombastic. The mage performs the spell. Turns out, the king had his own agenda, who'd have thunk, to seduce the mage's wife in the hopes that she'll bear his child. Side note, I don't love the way sexual deception is so casually used to engineer drama, but we'll see if that's explored in later episodes. 20 years post-flashback, Naksu has fallen afoul of Daeho's higher-ups, presumably due to her inconvenient habit of killing lots of people. Now, she faces Park Jin, Sang, head of Sungrim, the most powerful organization in the land, plus a squad of mooks that she swiftly dispatches with her sword. Atop a frozen lake, she battles for her life. Though not without taking time to sardonically explain that she's named after the sound of heads hitting the ground. How droll, despite her skill, she's wounded by a well-aimed arrow from Park Jin. Fleeing, with enemies hot on her heels, she has one desperate means of survival. Grabbing the first woman she sees on Daeho's streets, she opens up her hand to reveal a glass orb which, you guessed it, she uses to send her soul into another body, letting her current one slump corpse-like to the ground. Unfortunately, Jin is wise to her tricks. When he finds her body, he spots the telltale blue mark indicating her soul has left the building. However, when they search the other woman they find at the scene, there is no corresponding mark. Park Jin, concluding that the soul transfer must have been unsuccessful, bundles up both body and sword to return to Sungrim. We also meet Jin's heir, Park Dang-ji In-soo, an easygoing party boy who would rather carouse in Daeho's bars than knuckle down and study magic. He bemoans the loss of his friend, Jae-wook, who has been sent away to do the latter. Time to meet our male lead. Jae-wook is one cool customer, and currently, he has a bone to pick with a monk. He's been patiently honing his magical theory, but his would-be master won't teach him a single spell. Cuttingly, Wook threatens that if the guy won't tutor him properly, he'll withdraw the tasty bit of funding his benefactor Jin promised. As the monk blusters over Wook's shameful parentage, we learn that he is an illegitimate child whose father abandoned him. Sounds suspiciously prologue relevant. Things take a turn for the slapstick as Moodiok attempts to perform all the killer assassin techniques and death-defying acts of strength that came naturally to her before, only to pratfall repeatedly. It's slightly jarring compared to the earlier moody atmosphere, but Young So-min really sells it. Her exasperated glances are reminiscent of a cat with ruffled fur, and it's very easy to find her endearing as she scarfs meat to pacify her body's growling stomach and thinks longingly of murder when a passerby makes her drop her chicken skewer. Moodiok is still in peril. She must escape the Jiseong house to whom her body's previous owner has been sold. Here, our leads finally collide. Wook is searching for the notorious assassin Naksu, who, if she survived, might be the only person fearless enough to break the seal his father placed on his magical abilities. Because as it turns out, there's more to the monk thing than first met the eye. Nobody dares countermand his father's will and teach him spell work, in one of this episode's funniest scenes. An escaping Moodiok threatens Wook with the first weapon that comes to hand, a crab leg from his nearby dinner tray. Wook, remarkably unperturbed for a guy about to be impaled by a crustacean, merely remarks that Moodiok has beautiful eyes. Here, things get cute. Wook clearly recognizes that Moodiok isn't who she claims to be. However, instead of confronting her, his plan is to make her fetch water for his bath, then complain about it being too hot, only to whine that it's too cold when she adjusts it. Ad infinitum until she snaps and resorts to violence. It's not a terrible plan. She fantasizes vividly about murdering him. However, with no magical skill to speak of, it's all she can do to grin and bear it. Awkward misadventures abound. When Wook discovers Mudiok, who was attempting to steal his gate pass, hiding under his bed covers, he remarks, deadpan, that this was not what he had in mind when he brought her here. Her hasty excuse is that she was trying to warm his bed, to which he replies that if that's the case, she should warm his bed all night. With this brazier here, where she can fan the fire. The chemistry between them is blisteringly awkward, and I am here for it. Mudiok's incredulous certainty that Wook has somehow fallen for her, paired with Wook's failure to understand why this cutthroat assassin is being so weirdly polite, hits that comedic sweet spot. The characters are baffled by one another, but the actors know exactly what they're doing. It's got delicious potential. Eventually, there'll be sparks, but right now they're fumblingly alarmed by the other's existence. She asks him why he's here. Because, he says, of her eyes. In the moonlight, they gleam as blue as the mark left on Naksu's body. Mudiok has been seen for who she is, Naksu's soul in a new body. And Wook is determined that she be his master. Whilst the silliness of Alchemy of Souls occasionally misfires, this show has great potential. I was excited by the premise, and my excitement has only ratcheted up after that delightful ending.